Mackenzie Johnston with Cattle News Central, bringing you your November 1st cattle industry headlines. Brought to you by Ag Risk Advisors. PRF season is here, and their advisors are educated and ready to help you mitigate weather risk. Their state-of-the-art technology and superb customer service ensures that your policy is in good hands. The PRF deadline is December 1st, so if you would like more information, be sure to reach out to an advisor today. Ag Risk Advisors, with you no matter what the weather. Also sponsored by Circle 5 Cow School, they host weekly remote classes all throughout the Midwest so you can learn to preg check your own cows. To view their schedule, head on over to circle5cowschool.com. That is the number 5 in there, or you can go ahead and just give them a follow on Facebook. According to the Oklahoma Farm Report, as of last week, 3/4 of the data collected from producers had been received by NCBA regarding its 75% plan to increase negotiated cash trade. According to Jerry Bohn, NCBA's president and regional trigger subgroup chair, there is no doubt that negotiated trade has increased because of the plan. Bohn is pleased with the direction things are going under the plan, particularly in the Texas Panhandle. Producers in the Texas Panhandle have really stepped up in the last several months to increase negotiated trade, said Bohn. They recognize the need to have a certain level of negotiated trade and to steer clear of a government mandate. Bohn closed by talking about the Cattle Contract Library Act of 2021, which is supported by NCBA. He believes that the new bill is a way to make the business more transparent for producers and to also shift some leverage back to producers. According to Reuters, since 2019, the U.S. has blocked a rising number of meat shipments from Australia because of fecal contamination. The problem is attributed to an Australian system that has started to allow more and more companies to inspect their own meat instead of having government inspectors present. Just in 2020, 10 shipments of meat from Australia were refused by the U.S. Food Safety and Inspection Service, also known as FSIS, because the meat was contaminated with feces or other digestive matter. In 2019, 9 shipments were rejected, and then in 2018, 4 shipments were turned away according to internal data provided by USDA. During the first 3 months of this year, 3 shipments of Australian meat were rejected for the same issue, fecal contamination. Additional information concerning recent figures was requested from the USDA, however, they declined to provide such information. As we all know, eating meat contaminated with feces or digestive material can result in deadly illness caused by E. coli and other pathogens. U.S. food safety inspectors only physically examine or test a subset of imported meat. So a very small amount of meat that comes into this country is actually inspected. And with the number of rejections in recent years, there is no doubt that there has been meat that has gotten by U.S. inspectors and has made it to U.S. meat counters that has been contaminated with fecal matter or digestive matter. FSIS has downplayed the rejections, claiming that its import inspection process provides confidence in the safety of product from Australia that enters into U.S. commerce. The agency added that just 0.6% of the Australian meat that was physically examined in 2020 was rejected. But at the same time, the agency refused to provide a figure for what fraction of all imports were examined. Just another reason to have mandatory country of origin labeling. MarketWatch has reported that the Biden administration is currently in talks to offer immigrant families that were separated at the border during the Trump administration about $450,000 per person in compensation. This comes after several agencies are currently working to resolve lawsuits filed on behalf of parents and children who say that the government subjected them to lasting psychological trauma because they were separated. But keep in mind, there is an actual law that states that families have to be separated before they come into the United States. So when we were separating families and when we continue to do so, there's an actual law that says we have to do that. These payments would be handed out to folks that entered our country illegally. So we would be handing out millions upon millions of dollars to illegals. According to the American Civil Liberties Union, About 5,500 children were separated at the border over the course of the Trump administration. The number of families eligible under the potential settlement is expected to be smaller, and so far, about 940 claims have been filed by families. The potential payout could be more than $1 billion if the Biden administration decides to go forward with this free money handout plan. So keep in mind, in some cases, according to experts, the federal government will pay more out to illegals trying to enter our country than families received when they lost a loved one on 9/11. Additionally, these payments will also exceed what family members receive when a loved one is killed in the line of duty. That is what our government is doing, handing out money to illegals, more money than what families received when people are killed in the line of duty. That's all I have for you guys this morning. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. I hope you had a spooktacular Halloween. Have yourself a good week. Stay warm. I'll see you tomorrow morning.